No. What's up? It's Thursday night. It's time to have a chat. Tomorrow, finally Friday. On to another weekend. That's awesome. I need to take a day off soon. I'm super jealous. Everybody's going to be in Orlando this weekend, chilling out and everything. And now I'm kicking myself for canceling. I need my headphones too. Frick. Hold on. Ah. Still here. Here's the problem. I have to put my headphones up on this like high place, or else my cats have chewed through so many headphone sets um, that I have to keep them as far away from them as possible. So there is that, and kind of unfortunate. But yeah, we'll just hang out for a bit, see if people are chilling tonight. Oops, hold on. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same boat as me, wishing that they were heading to Orlando this weekend to chill with everybody. But unfortunately, we just can't all make it, right? Hopefully everyone shows up to Charlotte. I'm excited for that one. That's the one I'm going to be able to go to because it's within driving distance. I went to it last year. It was quite fun. I hope that people will be making it to that one because I'll be able to go to that one. I might think about going to another one this year at some point, but yo, what's up, Taco? How's it going, Makisor? Oh man, how's it going? Welcome, guys. I think I will go to Charlotte. That would be fun. I'm hoping to get a table at Charlotte. I've already put my name on the list, so hopefully, I am not sure if that means anything. I'll have to reach out as soon as we figure out what's available. But hopefully that means I can get a spot. Because I would really like to vend while I'm there, but who knows? If I can't, I can't. They don't want to hang in fresh foot of snow. Well, I'm in North Carolina, so I'm not anywhere near your guys' snow. Thankfully. Sometimes I miss snow though. I wish that we had like a white Christmas where it would just snow for like one day on Christmas Day, and then it would just go away. That's pretty much how it snows here. It snows and then it doesn't really stick, and then the next day it's just gone and it's like 70 degrees again. But yeah, occasionally we'll get a snowfall, at least one. Sorry, my lighting's a little weird today. I had this reminds me of something I wanted to talk about, but I had a light, but I had to use the light bulb because the light bulb in my bathroom burnt out. So I had to change my studio light. I had to take my studio light because I'm too lazy to go to the store and buy a light bulb. So I had to change my studio light into the bathroom. Um, and I have to go buy light bulbs this weekend. So I don't have that light with me. I was too lazy to grab it back out of the bathroom and use it for this. What is it? What is it focusing on? It's focusing on something in the background, but I don't know what it is. Probably Yoda. Yoda is a very photogenic individual. I wouldn't blame it. Saw my neighbor plowing his yard for half the day today. Wait, his yard or his driveway? I don't think we ever plowed our yard when I lived in Wisconsin. We plowed the driveway, obviously. Shoveled the driveway. I don't think I ever plowed my yard. Driveway. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. That would be kind of funny though. Oh, you're from Texas. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that like kind of everything was slang for the yard in Texas. Didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah, oh man, that'd be cool if you came to Charlotte. I'm definitely gonna go whether I get a table or not, just because it's only like a 2 hour drive for me, and it was fun last time. I would say it was definitely worth checking out. It was interesting. It was good stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely jealous that I'm not going to be in Orlando. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Been loving Minneapolis though. Nice. Yeah, I lived really close to Minneapolis for the first like third of my life in North Branch, a northern suburb. Um, you have a date on Sunday. Sweet. Good luck. I hope they're not creepy. I hope I hope they are nice. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Minneapolis is cool, especially the downtown. I lived downtown for a little while when I went to college there, and it definitely has a lot of like younger people and a lot of like young professionals, like a lot of downtown cities. But the downtown's cool because everything's pretty close together. Like the Target field is like right next to Target Center, which is like really close to where the football stadium is, and then you have all like the shops and everything right on that main street. Hennepin Avenue was that the one I think? Yeah, it's a super cool city. I think it's laid out really well. Definitely like to go to more card events in general. Yeah, I uh I've just been so lazy recently. It's one thing that I wanted to do coming into this year was do more card show vlogs and like figure out where more card events are near me because I know that there are more. But I've just been so lazy. I don't want to I don't want to I don't know. I'm too lazy. Um you're right across the river from Viking Stadium. Oh nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a cool spot. I lived in by where the Gopher Stadium is, like right across the street from it, and then I took a bus every day from basically Gopher Stadium past the Viking Stadium to Hennepin Avenue to do. I went to art school, like a private art school, for a couple of semesters, and that was fun. Totally different experience. I kind of want to live in a city. I don't know. There's part of me that's like, all the bad shit happens in cities, so I'm like, maybe I don't want to live in a city. Um, but then part of me is like, I've always lived in like suburbs and stuff, and whenever I visit my brother, it seems so cool that he lives just like right downtown in a major city, and whenever I visit the two times that I've been to Tokyo, it's like that's such a cool living experience. You just walk everywhere, you take the train, like you can literally walk to get groceries, walk to get coffee, walk to like everything is just so close. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll live in a big city. What's up, Lava Collectibles? Welcome. Cities are for visiting. Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know if I asked my brother today, he's lived in Seattle for a while now, and if I asked him today whether or not he'd live in a city or a suburb, I'm not sure what he would say. The thing is, if you live in a big city, you're gonna pay out the ass in rent. So that's pretty much why I don't live in a city, because I do not want to spend, a ridiculous amount for rent. I like having my like 2 bedroom apartment for $1,100 a month or whatever it is. That's pretty nice. I don't think I could find a 2 bedroom apartment downtown most major cities for that much. So I'll stay where I'm at for now. But definitely fun to visit. Yeah. How's everything going for everybody? Is anyone selling stuff right now? How are the sales for people? My sales have been pretty decent. Today I sold a couple big cards. I sold all of them. I might have one left. I've sold most of my uh old made cards, thankfully. Finally, they're gone. Um that's awesome. I sold all the PSA 10s for like $22. It was basically like no money made on those things after the initial couple. So yeah, those ended up not being fantastic. I was a little late to that one. That happens for sure. 1250 for your 1 bedroom. That's rough. That's not so bad, depending on your location, but that's kind of a lot for a 1 bedroom. 500 for a whole house through work in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, I mean if you're willing to live like in a cabin out in the woods, I feel like I could do pretty well for myself. I work from home. All I got to do is ship, Pokemon cards. I feel like I could live in a cabin out in the woods, right? Mortgage is 1,000. That's not terrible, right? But you probably have like insurance and all that jazz on top of it. One thing that one thing that scares the shit out of me for buying a house is there's a part of me that just says like renting's fine because I don't have to fix anything if something breaks. Like if the heater breaks, I don't have to replace the entire heater. If the AC breaks, I don't have to replace the AC. Like I don't have to worry about all those, you know, could be like very large expenses. But at the same time, I also kind of feel like every month I just kind of like throw 1,200 bucks away. Like, well, I can't get anything out of that money. It just kind of goes off into the void. I mean, I got a place to live, I guess, for a month, which is good. But I'm not like building any equity in anything. There isn't anything either, going up or down in money. It's just like, just kind of cash, light it on fire. You lived in a place for a month. There it goes. But I also don't have to worry about, mowing the lawn, any of that nonsense BS. But my apartment complex recently, they put these giant floodlights outside the complex, like on the top, and we face another apartment building, and so the floodlight comes in through my windows, and I don't have to turn any lights on at night anymore. It just comes straight through the windows. They're totally good. Uh, it lights up my whole apartment once the sun goes down. It actually sucks, but they keep making dumb changes like that. So my collecting journey involves me consistently acquiring more and more bulk and selling almost nothing. Okay. I have quite a bit of bulk there now. Some vintage bulk there that I need to figure out what I want to do with. Sold a Precious Pika PSA 10 and a Dark Magician Starlight PSA 10. Wait a minute. A Precious from the Precious Collection box? Is that the one? For a PSA 10? Does the PSA 10 of that, does that go for like 400? It goes for oh wait, no. Is the raw card 400, 300, 400, something like that? I didn't buy one of those. I should have, but I didn't. Unfortunately. I would never buy a house in Minnesota unless I could afford someone to plow and lawn care. Yeah, right? Yeah, my parents have all these different expenses and stuff at their home, and it's like they got lawn care people. They've got people that come out and spray for like mosquitoes and shit. They've got my stepdad's got a mobile lawn. They have to like there's so many different I don't know. There's so many different expenses that I just don't care to worry about right now. Raw's 350, 400 sold yours for 688. Okay, nice. Nice, nice. Was it Lava Collectibles or was it somebody else that had the I don't remember who it was now that had the sealed copy in the PSA 10. I wonder if they ended up selling that or not. Because I would like to know if they got the full PSA 10 amount for their sealed. Oh, it's Teflosion. That's who it was, yeah. Um do you know if he ended up selling that? That would be really interesting if it went for the same amount. I don't know who's buying that card. Who's buying a sealed promo? That's like whenever I see videos and Rusty's like graded the sealed Ancient Muse, I'm just like, why are you doing that? Why are you selling? Why are you grading like encasing the sealed Ancient Muse? Like you can't even see the card. It's not the card isn't facing outward. It's covered up by a stupid promo card that you can't even see it. It's one of the coolest like artworks I feel like in the hobby. Like one of the most like I don't know. And you're just sealing it in plastic and covering it up. It's like what are you doing, bro? Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Crawdad? Welcome in. What's good? Not much, man. I got I got one thing I want to talk about. Okay, before we start the videos. Let me show you which videos first. Oh, well, there we go. We've got the biggest Pokemon investing mistakes market analysis from Pokemon Classics. I haven't watched this video yet, but I want to hear all the big mistakes in Pokemon investments. I assume that we will be hearing a lot about some of the people that we've already reacted to. I also have these other two. I'm not sure which one I want to do. Maybe we'll do both. I'm not really sure. But the Lab TCG had another video that I thought would be interesting to watch. I actually listened to one of his live streams after we reacted to that video last week. And I don't know. I've liked his content so far. And this is kind of what he learned in the first 30 days of selling Pokemon cards. So maybe. And then the next option is one from Pocket Monster Madness. I've not heard of them before, but they made a video kind of like Deep Pocket Monster where they tested different ways to store Pokemon cards. So that would be interesting as well. I don't know. It's only a 4-minute video, so we could see what's up with that. But yeah, I have been watching some more content from the Lab TCG, and I've been enjoying his videos. Oh, you like his Discord? Nice. He does things very differently than me, but I kind of like that because then I get to learn. Like he seems like he's taking more the traditional route of a TCG like store. He's like selling modern bulk and kind of lower cost items and stuff, and building a business kind of that way, like starting small and building in, instead of going the route that I went, which was like grade everything and sell everything. He did make in his live stream I listened to, he did make a comment which I thought was really interesting. He basically said that he wouldn't grade because he doesn't think there's any money to be made in it or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I don't think that's right. But otherwise, yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from that side of the business. Oak, what's going on? How's it going? Welcome. Mr. Oak himself has graced us with his presence. You getting excited for Orlando, Oak? That's going to be really awesome. You guys are going to have a lot of fun. I'm jealous, but, it happens. It happens. Okay. One thing I wanted to talk about, though. Okay. Next week, Thursday, will be the roundup. Not the roundup. What is it? The overview. The sales overview of the month. Everything that happened in my business. We do a little roundup at the end of the month. We did the first one last month. That was really fun to go through all the numbers and everything and show you guys. And some people had questions and stuff like that. We'll do another roundup next week. This one will include how far along we are making my money back on the collection. It will include the overall month sales numbers from the booth that I started at the comic shop, and it will include the numbers from the flipping that I do on eBay and the stuff that I've sold there so far. So the 3 different avenues, or the 3 different major things happening in my Pokemon life right now. It will include all of that. And then I'm also going to be, and this is just I don't want to preface this by saying like, okay, I'm just for the collection thing. I graded a lot of the higher value cards with CGC, and I've sold a lot of those high value cards as CGC graded cards. So I'm going to be showing you guys the recent solds for my CGC graded cards and the comps in the PSA equivalent grade, or close to the PSA equivalent grade, and show you guys, because I think the overall perception, and I think the overall perception is true for the most part, but just to show, like, hey, some cards do sell at the prices of their PSA equivalent, and you get your cards back a lot faster grading with CGC. So they're I think my point is just to be like, people in everything in life, they establish these brand dependence. What is it called? Brand. Oh, what is it called? Brand something. Brand loyalty. That's what it is. Brand loyalty. And I think brand loyalty, for the most part, only serves to hurt most people. And I think in Pokemon, if you're so invested in one single brand when it comes to grading, for instance, you're missing out on a bunch of other stuff, and it's not good for you. So I would say that you should keep your mind open to all options, because all options are useful in their different ways. So yeah, but that'll be interesting to kind of compare and contrast last sold's PSA, last sold's CGC, and see just how much CGC was sold for less, or maybe in a couple instances they sold for more. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, that was that's all I wanted to start off with. I think was that. Also, I think that people should, maybe I should make a video about this, but people need to value their time. I think it's really important when you're doing like side hustles and things to understand how much time and how much value for your time you're getting out of the amount that you're putting in. So for me personally, I have a submission that I sent in at the end of, was it December? I think it was end of December. I sent in a PSA submission end of December. It's in the last stage before shipping. It has been there for a couple weeks now, but obviously that's been about 2 full months, and then I'll finally get those cards back, right? My last CGC submission was literally a week. It was shipped out in a couple days, took 4 days to grade, and then literally returned like the next day. So what I think people don't do is they don't value their time. So I could have sent these collection cards to PSA. I could have waited 2 to 3 months to get them back, and then all that time I would just be chilling, kind of like I am with the packs. I sent all my packs into PSA for grading, and I've just been chilling so far. They're just chilling. But I find it interesting because what's your time worth? If you get, let's say, 10%, if you take a $250 card and you can sell it CGC for 10% less than the PSA, but you get it back 2.5 months faster, is it worth the 10%? I don't know. But those are the types of questions that I ask myself when I'm going to submit stuff. And a lot of times I'll sit back and say, okay, how much time this week did I put into looking for Pokemon stuff? And then I'll say, okay, let's say it was 10 hours. And then I think, okay, if I was working at Target and I made $15 an hour to work in the warehouse, how much money would I have made this week? Okay. How much money did I make in Pokemon? Okay. Am I outpacing just getting a second job? Sometimes I think about that. And if it's somewhere close or equivalent or higher, then I'll be like, okay, well, I obviously enjoy this more than working at Target, but it's something to think about when you're doing this as like a side hustle or a side job. Is like, if I just got a second job for 15 hours, a week, that's less time consuming. Would I be better off? So I just think that there's things that you can think about with your time and how you value it, because it's limited for all of us. So it's an important commodity, and if we're not valuing it at all, then yeah. If you enjoy your job, you'll never work a day in your life. I wonder if you polled everyone in America, how many people would say that they enjoy their job? I would think it's probably a pretty small percentage, or it would be at least not the majority. Um, I think a lot of people work to live. I think we should try and live to work, which would be amazing because you would love your job and you would wake up every day excited to go to work. But I think a lot of people are in the position where they have to work to live and they'll take anything, or they have 2 jobs or 3 jobs or whatever to try and, keep up their standard of living. That's interesting because I feel like I make way more than a 15-hour when doing plays, but certainly less hours total. Yeah, I mean, it really depends. It really depends. But yeah, I mean, I definitely do, I think. But I don't know if I did at the beginning. I definitely spend less time now buying stuff because I know what I'm looking for. Like I've gotten it down to a science where I'm spending a lot less time sourcing, because sourcing is absolutely the thing that takes the most time, is sourcing. Um, so before it was like hours and hours and days of going through every listing on Buy and trying to find the mint stuff and blah blah blah, and sourcing and sourcing and sourcing. But now I feel like I've gotten into a science where, like, an hour or two in the morning, hop on, check it all out. Okay, bought the stuff I need to buy, done for the rest of the day. It's no longer like I don't know, like a hardcore, thing. How's it going, Brad G? Welcome. Yeah, I just think it's interesting because most people have that exact same have that exact same thought that All Man told Crawdad. You should definitely send a PSA if you like money. And to some degree, I mean, it really depends. It really depends, because that's not the case for every submission, right? It really depends on the cards you're sending in, and it depends on the amount of time you want to invest. But there are lots of submissions that one could look at and say, yeah, these cards are way better going to CGC because CGC is, less crazy on this, and that, and you're going to make more money that way. Where PSA could hit you with this, or that, and you might be screwed. So, yeah, I just think it's man, I feel like we talked about so many good topics this week in the Discord. Like, there was another topic that I brought up to Dan, and I actually talked to Pikachu about this as well. But it was basically the topic of how much anecdotal evidence do you need before you make a decision based off of that information. So, like, if you watch a lot of PSA returns right now, everyone seems to be getting boned. Like, PSA seems to be just bending everyone over right now, in everyone's submissions. If you're watching, like, most PSA returns on YouTube of, like, modern Pokemon or vintage, not modern Pokemon, but vintage English or Japanese, people just seem to be getting wrecked, like, left and right. But how much of that type of content do you need to consume before in your brain you're like, okay, well, I'm going to decide to do things differently because of this information that I now have? Like, I posed it to Dan in the Discord, and Dan basically said, like, there's never enough information to make a decision based on that. He went a little further to say, even if you knew the answer to that, you wouldn't change anything about the way that you do things, which I disagree with. I think if I knew that PSA was harder on English Vintage, I might not even send them English Vintage. I might go the CGC route for that then. I definitely think that there's things that, but the topics that I brought up were like, when the Charizard UPCs came out, all of the UPCs that I saw opened, no hits, nothing. There was nothing in the Charizard UPCs. You got the promos, and all of the packs were pretty much duds. Like, there might be one or two decent packs, but the rest of them were shit. And that was like hundreds of UPCs that I saw open where there was literally no packs. All the biggest YouTubers that were opening them, nothing in the packs. But for someone like Dan's like, well, that's just coincidence. I'm sure there's, Charizard EPCs out there that have hits. And for someone like me, I'm kind of like, well, maybe the next Charizard UPC I open, maybe I'll keep it sealed because I probably won't get anything good out of that. Or maybe I will keep the packs, put them aside for grading later and, not worry about opening the packs because I kind of think that they're kind of shit. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it will be different for everybody, but I think it's just an interesting question. Especially when it comes to the investing channels, is like, how many people do you need to hear say that something is a good investment before you buy into it? Is it one? Do you have one person that you listen to? If one person says, buy this booster box right now, you go out and buy a case? Or is it like six? Like 6 modern investing channels? All of them you trust and all of them you say? Or do you not make your decisions based on that? Kind of, yeah. I mean, how do you inform your decisions? I guess that's. I think we all make decisions based on, the content that we consume. But yeah, at what point are you willing to take what you see and use it as like evidence, and then incorporate it into your decisions? I don't know. So it's an interesting psychological question. Having a job is a bag. Man, I hope someday I can go full time. I really do hope someday I can go full time, but it's definitely a dream, like a far off dream to go full time in this, but I don't think I'll be doing it anytime soon. Really hard to give up a good paying job with good benefits and like work from home and all that stuff. Really hard to give something like that up to try and, go for a full-time or, full-time flipping gig. And you don't know if it's going to last. I know that my job's going to last at least for a little while. There's always emergencies in the world, and that's kind of what we help with. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, I'll stop yapping. We can get into the video. That's why we're all here. Let's watch the Pokemon Classics video called The Biggest Pokemon Investing Mistakes, a market analysis. A Pokemon market analysis. Let's do it. I'm going to do 1.25. Last time I literally only got through 2 videos and it took me like 3 hours or something stupid. So we're going to go, we're going to go 1.25 and we're going to try and make it through these videos, but I am going to go point by point in this video and we'll talk about it. Let's do it. Just about halfway.
When it comes to Pokemon collecting and investing, you might not be as knowledgeable as you think you are. And that goes for all the experts here on YouTube, myself included. At least, that's what psychology tells us. To illustrate this, let's take a look at the Dunning-Kruger effect.
I wouldn't listen to me.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological phenomenon that demonstrates the shocking disparity in perceived knowledge and actual expertise. Here's how it works. When surveying participants in a variety of different fields, those with the least knowledge are often the most confident in their abilities, grossly overestimating their skills in relation to that of their peers. Meanwhile, those with the most knowledge often underestimate their own expertise. It's fascinating.
Maybe I am an expert. No, I'm just kidding. I do. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. Don't listen to me. Especially when it comes to Bai or like mid-era Japanese or anything like that. Just don't listen to me, okay? I'm wrong. All right, just wrong about all of it.
Counterintuitive, but is perhaps best understood when thinking about the individual's level of experience with it.
Bro, that is so true though. It always seems like the least knowledgeable people on a subject are the most confident about that subject. Like they're the most confident that they're right even though they know nothing about it. Like how many people have we encountered? Of course you guys have encountered people like that, right? They know nothing about it. You start to poke at like little things like, oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? They know nothing about it, but they're so confident that they're right about a particular thing they know nothing about. Man, that happens all the time. Oh, it's so frustrating too.
In their field. Those who are inexperienced are often unaware of the complexities, the nuances, the history, and the contributing variables that influence their field, while those with years of experience come to appreciate the vastness and complexity, realizing how insignificant their own knowledge is in comparison. The same is true with Pokemon collecting and investing, and contrary to what many experts claim, successfully collecting and investing is not as simple or formulaic as many suggest. And today, I wanted to share with you 3 psychological principles that can easily translate into major investing
I like this.
mistakes.
We're going into the
These
psychology.
3 psychological pitfalls include confirmation bias, herding bias, and recency bias. Together, these forms of bias threaten to limit our perspective and our better judgment.
Wait. I feel like he's literally just saying the name of... I'm picturing... Okay. Without naming anyone, I'm picturing a Poketuber in my mind right now. And if you know, you know. But I'm pretty sure... they utilize all 3 of these biases when they make their videos.
Resulting in decisions that could cost you a lot of money. I'm Pokemon Classics, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the psychology of Pokemon investing.
I'm not saying no names, okay?
That you don't become
you guys
casualty.
Come to your own conclusions.
Let's roll the intro.
The intro. I love Classics intro. I don't know if
You've probably seen
he
it
did it
before.
himself,
YouTuber
but
talk
so
about how
good.
sealed product can only go up while ignoring past market downturns, reprints, or certain sets that just never really gain traction.
Yeah.
Or the YouTuber who guarantees a vintage slab will 5x in the future while ignoring...
Wait, hold on. I gotta check the comments. Actually, I think... Oh. Found one. Wait. Nope, I don't see the other one. Okay, never mind.
Market volatility and population growth for that particular card. Confirmation bias is perhaps the most prevalent form of bias, particularly
Actually, I think I hit him.
Essentially, this form of bias occurs when an individual
I don't think I can see his
to
comments.
support a pre-existing belief or theory rather than allowing the data in its totality to shape one's beliefs or theories. When it comes to Pokemon collecting and investing, this is problematic for 2 obvious reasons.
Yes.
First, it often leads to selective exposure, in which individuals intentionally ignore facts and evidence that opposes their own beliefs.
Yes.
And second, it inhibits cognitive dissonance, our brain's primary method for reflection and growth. Perhaps a good question to ask yourself is, where do I get my information from? There are countless websites and YouTube channels out there providing sales data, investing strategies, and market commentary, but most people will limit their research and consumption to only the sources that share their own perspective. It's an understandable and yet potentially dangerous behavior.
This is for like everything in life.
In logic and argumentation, this is similar to the cherry-picking fallacy, in which data is selectively chosen and other data is selectively ignored.
You remember, I think it was the first week that we did this live stream. We watched a video where a particular person was very confident in saying that they were right about everything, because the modern Pokemon booster boxes had seen an increase in prices. Totally ignoring the fact that there still could be a reprint coming. Totally ignoring the fact that there are lots of factors, withstanding that could take the prices down. But it just happened to be that at that particular moment in time that these booster boxes had increased. So he made a video basically saying that he was right all along and that modern investing is the way to go. Which is very interesting. Seems a little bit like confirmation bias and cherry picking of information.
In order to bolster one's position or argument. However, I think they would agree that to fully understand the complexity of the market and its nuances, it's often best to explore a variety of perspectives, including those that we aren't inclined to agree with. And that's where cognitive dissonance comes in. Cognitive dissonance is the feeling of discomfort we get when we encounter new data or information that contradicts our existing beliefs or theories. It forces us to adjust our perspectives and to see the market more clearly, more accurately, and more holistically. For example, if someone believed that modern Pokemon was not an investment and could never generate a return, how would they react to recent data over the last few years from modern booster boxes, almost all of which have seen a considerable appreciation? Inversely, how would someone respond to obscure promos or historical oddities outselling even the most popular modern cards if popularity was always the de facto metric for a card's value? In short, we can combat confirmation bias in 2 ways. Seek out diverse perspectives, particularly those that you disagree with, and perform holistic research. Nobody likes to be wrong, but becoming aware of our potential blind spots and being willing to adjust our beliefs when warranted is one of the most liberating actions any collector or an investor can take. There are a number of great YouTube channels out there and some unbelievably sophisticated websites for researching populations, sales data,
we'll talk
market
about it in
trends.
a sec.
They're readily
We're going to move
available.
on to the next
I'll go ahead
point.
and leave a few of my favorites down
There
in the
you go.
description.
Okay, so seeking out diverse perspectives. I think that's extremely important. It's actually something that I've been doing. I've just started. So if you haven't heard from me, don't feel excluded or anything. But I've just started reaching out to people who I know do things differently than I do, and having personal, like, one-on-one conversations with them, because to me, like, the diversity of thought, I know that I can learn from anyone. I could learn from Peak about Zelda cards. I could learn from Oak about Pikachu cards. I could learn from any of you guys about something that I know nothing about. So I think it's important, if you don't know something, you should absolutely reach out to people who think completely differently than you, to try and figure out that other perspective. You should always challenge your own ideas too. Some people see success in doing what they're doing, and then that to them, I guess, is a little bit of confirmation bias, but it makes them feel as if they are right because what they're doing is working, which in some ways they are obviously right. But then on top of that, some people go as far as to say that other people are wrong for what they're doing because okay, wait, hold on. Person A, I confused myself in this whole deal. I'm sorry. Person A did something right and now feels like they understand the right way to do something. Person B does something completely differently that they are equally successful at. But person A is so kind of up their own ass about the way that they do stuff that they shit on person B for the way that they do things because they perceive it as the wrong way to do things. So, person A needs to allow their ideas to be challenged more instead of outwardly kind of attacking people who do things differently than them. I do think that there has been a bit of a growing person A in the hobby that is kind of, they've seen success, they know what works for them, and now sometimes they will, lash out at others that seem to be doing things differently but equally as successful. So I think that's, but it's important for the person A's out there to kind of reevaluate and be like, all right, maybe I can learn something from these people that are doing things differently than I am, because I just think that that's really important. It's one of the biggest reasons I did a collector showcase series. Yeah, no, I mean, I really like that series because you did have a lot of different people on from a lot of different, like you had people, you had a whole thing about signatures. You had a lot of different topics. You had one talk recently. Was it on your channel? I think it was, or maybe it was on, I forget whose channel. Maybe it was on Swami's channel. I don't remember, but it was one about like non-Pokemon TCGs, stuff like that. Like, all of that stuff is super interesting. It's definitely a good series. Everyone should check out Peak Tetsu's channel for sure. Landon, how's it going? Welcome in. What did you say here? It's like, when I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, I could be right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong. And I'm sorry because I could be wrong right now. I could be wrong, but I'm right. True. 100%. Love to have you on my next live stream I do. Don't see you on lives. Yeah, I don't to be honest, I don't get really invited to lives, but I also don't really put myself in, like, out there to I don't invite myself on other people's channels. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm not a very, like, outgoing person in that way. I'm not going to, like, reach out to Jake and be like, Jake, we need to talk on your channel, because I don't really feel like it's my place to do that. But I'm always down to hop on live streams and stuff if people want me to, for sure. I always love talking about this stuff with people. Hustle and Flow quote. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I did actually You guys peer pressure me into buying the dumbest shit. I'm actually pretty excited about this though. I bought what hopefully is, I hope it's original and sealed, but you guys were talking about how Steve Aoki is making like some sort of grading company for tapes and vinyl and like CDs and shit. So I bought a hybrid Linkin Park Hybrid Theory from 2000, the CD sealed, today on eBay. Because I was like, that if I think of one CD that came out when I was a kid that like is literally shaped my entire childhood, it was Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park. So I bought that. So yeah, it's one of my favorite CDs of all time. Yeah, Meteor is great too. I was looking at Meteor and I was like, why is it so much more expensive? I was looking at sealed copies and it was like a couple $100. I'm like, damn. But yeah, I hope the one that I bought is legit, but who knows? It was like $12, so I was like, whatever. All right, back to the video.
Below. Herding bias is another dangerous trap way to ensnare unsuspecting collectors and investors. This type of bias is essentially the opposite of confirmation bias. Instead of relentlessly holding one's opinion regardless of the evidence, herding bias occurs when an individual mindlessly follows the advice or behavior of a large...
Wait, that's what I just did. I feel personally called out. I bought Hybrid Theory because of herd behavior. Come on, classics. Don't call me out like that on my own live stream.
Group. Now, psychologists believe individuals do this as a means of risk mitigation, convincing themselves that if others are doing it, it must be a wise investment strategy. Ironically, though, this herd...
I have a Linkin Park story. I wasn't allowed to listen to Linkin Park when I was a kid, because the themes were too... The CD... There was a lot about, like, depression and stuff and, like, and loneliness and stuff in Linkin Park and the angry, like, nature of everything. And so my parents didn't want me actually listening to it. But so my brother and I were not allowed to listen to Linkin Park. One weekend, we went and visited my cousins. And my cousins were that family that, like, the parents didn't really pay attention all that much. And the kids could just do whatever the hell they wanted. And so we were down in their room, like, the entire day. We were just playing Hybrid Theory over and over and over again on loop. And then I think eventually my parents caved and they allowed me to listen to it. So I had to fall asleep in a certain way so my CD player wouldn't tip over. Yeah. It was such a good CD, man. I think there was a Three Doors Down CD too, the one with Superman on it. That I wasn't. I think my parents, somebody bought it for me for my birthday or something because I asked for it, and then they listened to the songs on it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can't give it to you." Like, what? You bought it for me for my birthday? Why? I think for the same reason there was like stuff about suicide or depression or something in that CD, and they wouldn't let me listen to it for the longest time. Yeah. Hoobastank was awesome, though. Like, they were actually pretty awesome. I had that CD, too, their first one. What's up, Chevals? Welcome. That first Hoobastank CD had a lot of good songs on it, bro. They had one hit. They had one radio hit. But they didn't... The rest of that first CD was pretty okay. It was pretty okay. Javadu's parents... You like to think you're never wrong. Yeah, Kryptonite. That's what it was. Yeah. Yep. All right. Herd behavior.
Behavior often leads to artificial demand and inflated valuations, as individuals are making purchasing decisions not on the fundamentals, but rather on group momentum. 2020 and 2021 is an excellent case study in this phenomenon, with almost every microcosm of Pokemon skyrocketing due to celebrity
3 Days Grace was
media
really
attention
good.
and a FOMO mentality.
Getting caught up in chat
Some of these cards went nonsensically high considering their questionable at best fundamentals. In particular, I'd be cautious of cards that are mass-produced, readily available, and in poor condition. Generally, that's just not a winning formula for a collectible. But that's the power and the danger of herding bias. It only takes a few influential individuals to promote a Bulbasaur as a third
That card went up to $8,500. Oh, I love Chevelle too. Yeah, true. How's it going, Michael? That Bulbasaur was $8,500. Is that true? That was stupid.
$30,000 card to create the type of hype.
Look at that.
Unleash a wave of unsustainable momentum buying.
Let's talk tools. Thanks for the sub.
One of the primary contributors to
You're probably not
bubbles,
in stream, but
where the perceived safety of following the crowd
oh yeah, you are.
Quickly
nice.
Turn into real danger. It's kind of crazy how much these two images mirror one another, but that's the risk of following the herd. Masses move markets, but sometimes those movements are quite volatile. So here's the takeaway. Don't blindly follow the crowd or the card. Instead, you have to educate yourself. There have never been more resources freely available to learn about collecting. Whether researching cards' conditions, population reports, or market data, it's important to be critical of what everybody else is doing. It certainly doesn't hurt to explore all avenues, including those promoted by the experts, but in doing your own research, you'll be in a much better position to decide what's best for you. Don't fall victim to herding bias.
One thing, though, I think, Let's Talk Tools, how's it going? Stumbled upon your channel a few weeks ago and I was getting ready to sell at your first farmer's market. Nice. I've actually, that video for some reason, like, the algorithm just like picked up that I sold at my first convention video and is showing it to everybody now. So I don't know why, but it's got like over 1,000 views or something now on it. But I appreciate it and welcome in. That's awesome. Yeah, Korn, System of a Down, Mudvayne was sick. Oh, what was the Metallica? It was kind of like the shit. I could see the album cover. It was like a skull coming out of sand. Is that what it was? And it was like Godsmack. Godsmack. I used to listen to Godsmack. Slipknot was sick. True. Bro, this is my childhood, man. That first Godsmack CD was good too. But yeah, one thing that I'm curious. So, I think people like to say that videos and how people talk in videos is like artificial demand, right? So like, let's see. I saw in your video that you took singles binders and I did the same. They did great. Nice. I'm glad that my video helped. I'm actually selling a lot of singles at my like permanent booth, I guess, or rented booth right now at the local comic book shop too. Singles, I don't know. Low cost singles kill at these things for some reason. I don't know if they would kill at like a Collecticon thing because there's more like actual TCG collectors, but they kill at like, you know, small local events because that's what the kids want. Is like low cost singles. But yeah. When do we embrace like YouTube as like a natural demand changer? That's a question that I have too. It's like everyone says, oh, you know, PokeRev opened up Lost Origin, never pulled the you know, the Aerodactyl, and then there was a buyout, and then the price got all crazy, and that was all artificial demand. And it's like, true, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, YouTube is here, and it's not going anywhere, and it's going to influence things. It's just kind of the nature of the social media beast. So when does that become just like a natural phenomenon instead of like a concerted effort to, because I'm sure PokeRev wasn't like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna make it so that I'm not gonna pull this one card so that it, you know, he didn't go in deliberately being like, I'm gonna push up this one card to a crazy degree. It's like that just kind of happened through his live stream making that video. So it was kind of a natural occurrence. He just didn't pull a card, but everyone took kind of that natural occurrence and went crazy about it. So yeah, I don't know. It's like when do those types of things that happen on video become not artificial but natural? Because, you know, social media is here. People make videos. People make live streams. They can't control other people. Some people do try to control other people. Some people do say like, oh, I really like the Poncho Pikachu Charizard. The Poncho Pikachu Charizards, aren't they amazing? They're like the best Pokemon promo ever in the history of promos. Everyone should buy them for like $5,000, and then and then sometimes that actually ends up raising the price of some of those cards. You definitely shouldn't do that. That was a joke. Um, but yeah, I just don't. I don't know. It's interesting. When does something that starts artificial become natural as it becomes more of a natural thing in society? God, so many philosophical questions. Dude, Limp Bizkit was sick. I liked break stuff because I was an angry 12-year-old. That was my jam. All right.
A third well-known psychological trap is recency bias, in which individuals tend to overgeneralize recent data at the expense of ignoring longer historical trends. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because prices and markets do fluctuate over time, and recent sales are generally the best indicator of current market values. However, when making financial decisions or collecting decisions, it's often wise to take a look at the long-term data and consider the possibility that the current market is not always representative of an item's potential future. For example, it's not uncommon to see the Pokemon market move in larger cycles. Anyone who was around in 2016 when Pokemon Go was released, and when Nintendo celebrated Pokemon's 20th anniversary, can attest to just how similar this cycle was to the one we experienced in 2020.
I do think that this is a lot harder to do when you have like a crazy phenomenon that changes the market seemingly possibly forever. Like I think that this is much easier to do when you don't have like like a COVID like a crazy COVID Logan Paul insaneness that I think has probably changed the direction and the popularity and demand of Pokemon possibly forever. Not saying that there couldn't be another drastic fall. There could always be a drastic fall, just like there's a drastic upturn. But I do think a lot of people coming out of that were like, and I think some people still do it, but maybe not as much. But some people coming out of that were like, well, before the boom, I was spending $50 on this PSA 10, such and such. So I don't trust the new price of $200 because there's no way that because I spent $50 on it before demand, changed and all of that I do think for a while, like the new landscape kind of scared people. they were like, hey, wait a minute, chill out, because I was spending this much on this before, and it might not be, as good a buy as you're thinking. And then I think some people may have lost out on some things because they had that price memory. But it's always good to have the price memory to call back to and be like, well, there was downturns. It's not always been up. We need to think about downturns when we think about, print runs and how demand can shift over time. And if there isn't anything interesting that happens in the next couple of years, like we could see a significant dip in Pokemon. Just because it's changed right now significantly upward and then come down and kind of settled doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever. It can always change, but I do think that if you hold on too hard to like your price memory, that it could maybe negatively affect you going forward if there was a crazy change that actually seemingly changed the demand for Pokemon long term, or what I think could be long term. I think people just call certain demand artificial to distinguish between demand that isn't worth buying into. Maybe. I think that there is artificial demand. Like I think if PokeRev came out and made a video of like top 5 things to buy in Pokemon, in modern Pokemon, and then he said like you should be buying Evolving Skies boxes, you should be buying Evolutions booster packs, you should be buying these 5 things, and then we saw buyouts all over the place of a whole bunch of people just listening to him and buying all this stuff, and prices are going up and demand spikes. Like that could definitely be what I would consider more of an artificial demand. But like if he's just doing a live stream and he has trouble pulling a card, and then that somehow, you know, affects the market in a certain way, I don't necessarily think that's, I don't know, I think there's like an intention behind artificial and natural. Like, I think if someone's intentionally trying to change demand for their like benefit, I think it feels more artificial to me. Whereas if you're just doing stuff and what you're doing, what you usually do, just happens to adjust demand in some way without you meaning to, then I would think that's more like a natural occurrence and not an artificial occurrence. Hoarders, artificial demand is what they mean, probably. Yeah, I don't know. And then it becomes like, is anything that's not like end collector, like most of the people who are hoarding, you know, modern sealed products are not the end collector for that item, right? There's going to be people down the way that are going to buy those products and probably open them or whatever when they become a little more vintage for fun, or they're going to put them in their collections or whatever. But most of the people hoarding modern product today are not the end collector for that, or not necessarily the end collector, but they're not collecting it to collecting it. They're taking it in to sell it, you know, when it goes up in value, right? So it feels a little less. I think it just comes down to intent for me. I think if the intent is I'm just buying this because I want it, or I'm buying this because I want to open it, then that feels more like natural demand. Whereas if it's like I'm gonna buy the entire Target shelf and throw it in my closet, that feels a little bit more artificial because that person isn't using the item for what it's meant to be used for. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to think about this more. I don't really know. Most will sell it once they get bored or open it. Yeah, true.
2021. After experiencing slow linear growth for years, with grading becoming more prevalent and online communities like E4 and YouTube providing a space for collectors to socialize and share their experiences, Pokemon was in a state of slow but steady organic growth. However, the release of Pokemon Go and the media attention surrounding Pokemon's 20th anniversary sent a massive wave of interest, driving prices up almost instantly. This spike in interest in sales is pretty shocking to behold, but in the following years, the market experienced a pretty significant rebalancing of both supply and demand, with prices for most items correcting rather heavily. I remember discussions and debates on E4, with some individuals convinced that Pokemon had crashed and would never experience those valuations ever again, while others were confident that the markets would eventually return due to the strong fundamentals.
You never know what's going to happen.
We fast forward a few years, though. We've experienced the same market cycle from 2020 to present, but this time on a much grander scale, with COVID lockdowns, celebrity influencers, and Pokemon's 25th anniversary this time contributing to this new hype phase.
Making his way
the
to
point
VHS.
is that having too narrow of a focus can blind us to the larger market trends in either direction. I've seen a number of YouTubers do this, perhaps unintentionally, but they generalize the current market phase that we're in, guaranteeing future outcomes. Just because modern boxes, for example, are performing well right now, doesn't mean they always have, or that they always will. And just because a first edition Charizard has dropped in price since its massive bull run, doesn't mean it will do so indefinitely. Of course, the opposite is also true. When cards get hot, they're not always hot, and they're likely to quickly cool off. I think the most telling example of this is the trend of seeing items that are first to market spike in price, due at least in part to short-term data, before plummeting once more as more and more copies become readily available. Even though that particular item might not have a deep and expansive history, an understanding of market trends could help forecast this type of behavior. So once again, the takeaway is to arm yourself with knowledge and experience. Make yourself aware as much as possible about
challenge your
history
ideas
and the
against
common
other
phases of each
people's
market
ideas.
cycle. Generally, the market fluctuates between phases of consolidation, saturation, and liquidation. And when combined with an understanding of the basic fundamentals like rarity, scarcity, condition, popularity, and history, we can better assess which items may be worth buying and holding in the long term, and which items are perhaps worth selling. It's not a perfect science, but history often does repeat itself, and at the very least, having a little bit of context never hurts.
Let's
anyway,
go
these are just 3 of
classics.
the many psychological traps out there that can quickly transform into costly collecting and investing mistakes.
I think we learned a lot from this video. I'm going to hit the like. Oh, I already did. I already hit the like button. And I am subscribed. And you guys should hit the like button and subscribe to Pokemon Classics as well, because he is awesome. Definitely go check that out. Go hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. He's definitely worth subscribing to. You should absolutely do that. Let's see. Slowly making it to VHS. I don't know about that. VHS are too expensive for me. I feel like video games in VHS are... I think you can find certain stuff in video games nowadays, but like all the movies that I would want in VHS would be way too expensive at this point, especially sealed. Like, I don't know, like Alien or Jurassic Park, or I'm trying to think of other movies that would even be on VHS. VHS was just before I feel like DVD was... When did DVD come out? I feel like DVD was more my childhood than VHS. DVD release. I'm sure like Star Wars is like extremely expensive. Like you're not gonna find a sealed VHS, of Star Wars for less than probably like $1,000. DVD release date. Well, that doesn't help. It just tells me release date. When was the first DVD released? 1997. So yeah, I would have been 6 when DVDs came out. So yeah, I would be thinking more about DVDs, I guess. I did watch VHS because most people had VHS until you could afford a DVD player. Actually, the first Blu-ray player I ever had, because I don't know if you guys remember this, you probably do, but the first Blu-ray player I ever had was a PlayStation 3, because a PlayStation 3 was literally the cheapest Blu-ray player that you could buy, and it was like $500. It was... The PS3 was the cheapest Blu-ray player, and it was $500 or something ridiculous. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that, but Blu-ray players were extremely fucking expensive for... I got it for the first few years, I think, before they became like normal. But yeah, my first Blu-ray player was my PlayStation 3 that I bought for like $500. I don't think we went hard in the DVD until PS2. The PS2. The PS2 is arguably the best console ever made. I think you can make an argument for the PS2 and the Super Nintendo and the Xbox 360. I think those three consoles, you can make a solid argument for all three of them as being the best console of all time. But honestly, I think the PS2... The Xbox 360 might be. I'm trying to think. The Super Nintendo is so good, though, too. All three of those consoles are so good, but the PS2's game library was just massive. It was super massive. And you had all the cool, like, JRPGs and stuff that came out on the PS2, and it was so good. Back when I liked playing video games. I just don't have time for video games anymore. Graded first print Jurassic Park. I bought new sealed for super cheap. Oh, how much? What are we talking though? Super cheap. Like, it's got to be more than $100, right? For a sealed Jurassic Park. First print. I remember getting a Blu-ray player for like $20. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. I remember buying my first flat screen TV. I bought my first flat screen TV for $450, I think, and it was literally a 24-inch flat screen TV. For $450 for like a 24-inch monitor. It was stupid. Yeah. And now it's like you can get like a 60-inch TV for less than that. Remember the competition between Blu-ray and HD DVD? I don't think I ever watched an HD DVD, but yeah, I do remember that. PS2 is better than everything. PS2 is pretty damn good. Whenever hearing oh yeah, the startup sounds. I like the GameCube startup sound too. Where it's like do 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 do. It like makes the little yeah, that's a good one as well. 4-player PS2 multi-tap, yeah. Yeah, we used to have big like LAN parties for the original Xbox and the 360 to play like 16-player Halo. It was super fun. Okay. Let's see. Should we do You could browse the web with PS3? True, you could browse the web. I remember it had a literal like browser. It was a literal browser, and you had to move the joysticks to you had to move the joysticks to move the fucking mouse cursor, and then I didn't have one of those keyboard thingies, but I think there was a keyboard attachment, or maybe I'm thinking about my Xbox. But yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass. Worked at Best Buy in the gaming CD section. Remember all of this. Also, Jurassic Park first print. Catching random auctions. My price less than lunch. What? Luck is when, yeah, true. Preparation meets opportunity. Yep. I actually worked at Best Buy in the gaming section for a short amount of time. It wasn't a very long time. How did I quit that job? Did I ever quit that job? I had to have quit. Because I moved away. I had to have quit. Now, for some reason, I'm just thinking I never went back. No, I'm pretty sure I quit. I would have never just not gone back. Yeah, it was either a movie theater or Best Buy. And I decided to work at Best Buy because it was more money. But I had both the interviews on the same day, and they both wanted to hire me. And I was like, I actually took the job at the movie theater. And then was it the same day? I had the interview at Best Buy. And then I took the job at Best Buy and had to drive immediately back to the movie theater and tell them that I wasn't going to work there. It was brutal. I actually remember like standing at the office because they actually gave me the name tag. And I had to give them back the name tag that they'd literally just given me like hours before. It was yikes. It was yikes. Sometimes that happens. I'm still on the schedule. Yeah. I've been working there for like 12 years now. Oh no. My package has arrived at Buyee. Ooh, hold on, I got an offer. I got an offer on a card, guys. Give me a second. By the way, if you're ever going to buy anything from me on eBay, just send me an offer of like 10% off, and we'll usually make a deal. I sell almost everything on my eBay. Best offer. Pretty much everything. What's up, Drew? How's it going? Welcome. I don't know. Do we have another video? We do have. I tried selling Pokemon cards for 30 days. From the Lab TCG. I don't know if you guys know the Lab TCG, but we watched a video from his last week and it was great. I thought it was quite good. So there's that. There's 30 days of selling. Probably about what he learned and everything like that. And then there's a video from Pocket Monster Madness. I tested different ways to store Pokemon cards. You know, buy any sealed from TCG Player with the $8. I don't use the bonus bucks. I feel like I should, but I also kind of feel like that everything sealed is too expensive right now, so I don't really want to buy any sealed stuff currently. No, I watched a classic song. I for some reason I really don't like when people sing, especially when it's not like a professional. But I don't even listen to like live music. I don't know. For some reason, there's just like and I know it's supposed to be funny, and it was funny, and I appreciated it. I watched the whole thing. I hit like on the video. I think I commented on it. I thought it was great, but I would not give a good reaction to that. I would not be able to do a good reaction to that. But yeah, I probably won't do much for the bonus bucks just because I kind of think everything's really expensive right now. Drew, how you doing, man? Welcome in. I watched Drew's recent video. That was a good one. You guys should definitely check that out. Everyone has great channels, you guys. Just go, anyone in chat, they probably have a YouTube channel. Just put their name in YouTube. Go check it out. Buyer made a counter offer. I don't appreciate your counter offer, Mr. Buyer. Okay? That's one thing, though. If you offer me 10% and then I give you a counter offer, don't counter offer me again. Don't do it again. Because I will double down. I will double down. Let's Talk Tools has a channel too. John Brooks, Blastoise Kid. Oh, I remember. Was he the guy that you had on that ripped the legendary packs? Was that Blastoise Kid? Is that the guy? He ripped the legendary collection packs like right on stream because he's like super rich or something. I don't know. He just decided to start ripping packs because he's crazy. Yeah, there was that. I remember that. Was that the same guy? Yeah, the same guy? Okay. I was like, what the hell is he doing? All of a sudden he starts ripping packs, and you guys are like, no, stop ripping the packs. Stop ripping the packs. They're like $1,000 a piece. Yeah, that was funny. All right, let's watch the Lab TCG's video about selling cards for 30 days and what he learned. Let's do it.
It's been 30 days since I've started selling Pokemon cards, and today I'm going to give you the 5 things that I've learned in the last 30 days of 2020.
No shot. He hasn't only been selling for 30 days. That is a lie. Hold on. There's no way he's only been selling for 30 days and he has like 3K on his YouTube. 1 year ago. Hold on. Yeah, 1 year ago. 30 days in 2023? Well, that's not even true though either. Unless he wasn't selling for the first month. All right, fine.
On how to sell Pokemon cards online. We're going to go over 4 different things that I have found incredibly useful in my Pokemon business, and one thing that has been absolutely detrimental. As most people probably expect, Pokemon businesses can be highly lucrative. However, in this video, I'm going to give you the reality that selling high-ticket items is not always the case. In fact, you probably sell a lot of bulk. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the 5.
Okay, first of all, I ain't got the time. I ain't got the time to be selling, 30-cent bulk, all right? I ain't got the time for that. And second of all, selling high-value items. Actually, I don't really sell at high-value items. I think the highest value items that I currently have available are like $500, I think, is the highest. And then I think most of the stuff... Hey, see? I strong-armed him. He bought the card. I think most of where I'm at is like 50 to like 300. I think is like my sweet spot, like $50 to $300 slabs, somewhere in there. And then some of them go higher, and like old made cards go lower. But for the most part, that's kind of where I hover around. But yeah, I guess I sell bulk, but I don't actively sell bulk. I just have a bulk bin at the booth up there. But other than that, 5 things I've learned. Let's see if I agree.
5 things that I have learned the most in the last 30 days. Number 1, I primarily sell Pokemon TCG bulk. What is that? Commons, uncommons, rares, and holo
It's like
rares
old school
on
Pokemon all over
TCG
again.
Player. I've sold on several different platforms, whether that's eBay, Amazon, Mercari, you can name it all. I've probably done it. And this
How is this profitable? You know, earlier in the live when I was like, you should figure out how much you value your time. I don't understand this. I don't understand why you would spend so much time selling like $1 cards. I don't get it. It's gotta be profitable because people do it. Old school Pokemon spent freaking $1 million or whatever it was last year and, you know, made a decent amount of money, but it's like he sells $1 cards. I would never want to do that. Especially I mean, I don't even want to sell raw cards on eBay. Like that's not even an option for me. That's the last thing I want to try and do is sell raw cards on eBay.
Channel has over 40 videos talking just about this topic, so be sure to subscribe, hit the like, and check out those videos if you'd like to learn more. But anyways, I sell primarily bulk, and recently I've been getting into the TCG Player Direct program, which if you don't know what that is, that's essentially
it's a volume
TCG
game, but it's a time game.
on your behalf.
How much time do you have to like
fill that inventory, ship it to them, so that you only have to ship
I mean, I guess if you're
package at a time,
super organized, maybe it's not so bad, but
you can also charge more for your products. So, interestingly enough, how have my results been? In the last 30 days, I've sold $482.89 on TCG Player. After fees, that comes to $324.35. I also sold a case of Evolving Skies for about $2,000, but I'm not including that into these numbers. Of those sales, $370.95 were through TCG Player Direct, before any fees. After fees, that came to $228.01. Now, this is really interesting because primarily those are commons, uncommons, holo.
So the bulk that he sold, he made $280 some in 30 days. Is he? I don't know what TCG Player Direct is. That the one where you send it in and they service everything? So like you send all the bulk into TCG Player, they sort it all out, they ship it out. You don't have to do anything. It's just like passive income. Is that TCG Player Direct, or does he have to ship all of that? I don't quite understand the whole direct, because I know that there's one where you just send it all in and then they kind of handle everything, and all you have to do is price it, right? But I don't know if that's the one that like Dan's a part of, but other people got kicked out of. He sends to TCG. Okay, so you send direct. You send a TCG Player, and they ship out when they sell. Okay, so that's more like passive income. So a lot of this was passive. It was like $280 of pretty much passive income. You just got to send TCG Player the items. But that's not available to everyone, right? Or was that Troll and Toad Evo that did that? One of those programs shut down to most people. So Troll and Toad Evo is the one that shut down to everybody except for like Dan and some other people, some early adopters. Okay.
And rares. I'm going to go ahead and average the cost of those things at 5 cents per card, which that's 371 items. That's a total cost of $18.55. So a huge profit on TCG Player Direct sales. And the biggest plus, I only have to send one shipment to TCG Player Direct once they ask me to send all the cards to them, and it's probably going to cost me around $4 to $8. That's a huge spread of profit from those items. This is really interesting. TCG
Basically
Player
passive.
Has been an absolutely great service.
That's pretty nice.
And I highly recommend that if you have the amount of inventory and the sales to do it, that you look into it. Of the other $482 in sales total, $111.94 of those sales were from non-direct inventory. After fees, that comes to $96.34. Essentially, this is me shipping out items in plain white envelopes with the stamp. Now, these are items that go through non-direct. Now, that's going to lead us to something that's really, really crucial about this and something I've learned. As a TCG player direct seller, I do not want people to buy from my
How
store
many?
and have me ship out the orders. With direct, since I can send everything all at once, it's most beneficial to me to not have to ship items all the time. Stamps get messy, items get lost, and you have to deal with all the disputes that customers can bring.
True.
Where direct kind of takes away all those issues.
True.
So here's the key thing that I learned. I set my shipping, instead of free, which I've been doing for over 3 years, I set my shipping to $1.99. And to my surprise, people still pay. This has been absolutely stunning. I have gotten orders where a card is $1.
They just probably buy more,
sales
right?
tax or the price of the shipping, it's $1.99. Their total order comes to $3. I've had people order tons of cards together, which brings up the higher average order value with $2 shipping. The amount of $2 shipping orders I have gotten blows my mind. Now, a lot of this stuff is not going to work if you're not a direct seller, to which if you aren't, I would highly recommend you stick with the 99 cents or free shipping over $5 model. But once you get into direct, don't be afraid to set your shipping floor to $1.99. You would be shocked at how many people pay for it. The next thing that I'm going to go...
No, I want to know how many.
This is something
I want to know how many items he had to ship himself, because I think that is crucial to me, because that would give me an idea of how much time you're actually having to ship all those items to only make $111 in 30 days. Like, I'm trying to talk about this without making it seem like it's not a lot of money, because I mean it's good. I mean, that's great. If you're starting out and you're just selling bulk and you're making a couple $100 a month, like, that's awesome. Like, we all have to start somewhere, right? But like, if you're spending, I don't know how many hours that could possibly be in 30 days, to only make like $111. That's that whole time cost thing that we were talking about earlier. Because if he even spent, I don't even know, if he spent let's say he spent an hour 15 of the 30 days, so 15 hours, he's making less than $10 an hour just shipping out like 99-cent cards. Which, I mean, if you love it, if you like doing it, that's great. But like, the whole like time cost thing is kind of like, it's an interesting thing to think about when you're talking about this type of stuff. I've heard sometimes people will send their cards in and they won't meet grading requirements, and they're sent back there in worse condition. For some reason, I had this, does TCG Player, like, I don't know if this is true, so I'm not going to say it. I don't buy cards off TCG Player anymore. I don't. I just don't. Every time that I've bought a near mint card off TCG Player, it's always been like PSA 6. So I don't buy cards off TCG Player anymore. But I guess TCG Player is more of like not necessarily a place you're going to find cards to grade. It's more like a place you're going to find cards to play the game with, right? So that makes sense. You United Staters have so many ways to easily move your bags. True. All right, let's go. Big inventory, more sales. That's true, but also more time. I feel like there's a massive time investment to this way of doing things.
I kind of knew, but for the first time, I've actually passed my old inventory number, and that is the bigger the inventory, the more sales. Now, this might sound pretty normal, but let's talk about this a little bit. In the last 30 days, I have listed over 10 sets, from Burning Shadow, Sun and Moon, all the way up to Shining Fates. I did this because I wanted to start with the sets that are rotating, which I do have a video on that if you'd like to check it out, but I wanted to focus on all the sets that are rotating at a competitive play, as I expect those cards to decrease in value first. Then, instead of listing Sword and Shield on, I decided to list
Good thinking.
Because when the new rotation comes, new cards could be good, and I don't want to pre-sell those cards without seeing the potential they have in the future. So, going backwards from Sword and Shield base all the way into Team Up, Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, Lost Thunder, Celestial Storm, you name the sets, all the way back to Burning Shadows. I wanted to list cards that already had some value to them and to try and get a feel for what's going on. Now, I don't have this as my main hobby, so to me it's not super important that the cards are selling at a rapid pace. I don't want to race to the bottom. I want to get a good amount of value for the cards that I've listed, and I put a lot of time into this, so I don't want the fast nickel, I want the slow dime. If you haven't heard that before, I'd imagine you should look it up.
That's what I do
with business.
Most of the cards that I buy, yeah, I mean I think that that's a good thing just overall. Like, if you can be patient, then you should list buy it now. I don't know why anyone would list auction in this market right now, in my opinion, especially with like mid-era stuff. I just wouldn't do that. But I would list buy it now, and I would just be patient. And if you're able to be patient, you know, listing buy it now, you're gonna make a bunch more money. It's gonna be slower moving, but at the end of the day, you're probably gonna make more. And you already have the item. You can just list it, set it, and forget it. When it sells, ship it out. But yeah, sometimes auctions, if you need the money, if you just want to move the shit and move on and move into something else, it's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times, like, fast nickel, slow dime situation, I think that's how I do things, basically. Everything's buy it now. I'm open to offers. Shit sells when it sells. I'm not too worried about it.
But the slow dime approach here, instead of listing my cards at whatever market price is, if the threshold of price is below 25 cents, I list every card at 25 cents. So if you were to go to my TCG Player inventory, you would only see cards priced at 25 cents and above. And to my surprise, people still buy. This is how I've been able to get some of these higher sales numbers in only 30 days of selling, with around 400 items sold. The 25-cent floor, when people are coming in and they're looking to buy the entire set of Burning Shadows, common, uncommons, and rares, they can come to my store to purchase it. Why? Because I have pretty much every common, uncommon, and holo listed. This is one of the advantages that you have of selling bulk. And on top of that, it just, when people have more options.
At the booth, all my bulk is 4 for $1, and the holos and reverse holos and stuff are 2 for $1. So, I mean, I can either bulk all of that out all at once for like, what, 3-4 cents a piece or whatever, or I can slowly make, you know, $25 a piece. That's why a lot of the bulk that I sold so far, I haven't really sold that much bulk, but I've made like $60 already this month just putting a bulk thing out and people buying 4 for $1, which I still have a crap load of bulk, and I'm going to be getting even more because I'm going to be opening a case of Scarlet and Violet when it comes in, and then I'm just going to swap out the old bulk with the Scarlet and Violet bulk. That bulk will go into like a mass, like a priority mailbox that I'll sell probably on eBay, and then the new Scarlet Violet bulk will be the bulk in the case, and then it will continue to kind of rotate like that. Hopefully that will work for me. That's kind of my plan going into this.
They tend to buy more. The 25-cent floor is something that's really great. And you don't have to copy me. You can also do 20 cents. You could do 15 cents. Whatever works for you. For me, 25 cent works. I'm still getting orders, and the sales numbers just keep increasing. Now, interestingly enough, I've also added 3 different supply sets to my business, and these have been really helpful in keeping things organized and
thermal label printer.
These BCW modular sorting trays. These clip together kind of like
Never
this,
mind.
and you can get a bunch of them. I have
everyone should have a thermal label printer.
Like usually in sets of 6. They're great for sorting your cards. I've been sorting on a table for years, and this is the first time that I've found a product that I can actually say I'm impressed with how well this has worked. If you'd like, I do have a 10% coupon code to BCW using code THELAB in the description, but
nice.
No obligation to do so.
Okay. Did you guys watch Old School Pokemon's video where he got the new sorter, like the new machine that sorts the cards into the 24 different stacks, and then that thing? Did you guys see that? I'm kind of confused. It's obviously cool, right? Because it sorts it for you. But at the same time, Did you guys think it was super slow? Like, I know that it's supposed to kind of just like be working while you can work on other things and you don't have to worry about that. But I feel like I could have sorted those stacks like in a couple minutes. And that thing looked like it was going to take a half an hour to sort both those stacks. It seemed like it was moving extremely slow. Are they supposed to move that slow? It just seemed like you could do it a lot faster, like a lot faster. Not just like, oh, I could save, 15% of the time doing it myself. It's like you could do it in like 5% of the time that thing was going to take to sort all of the cards. It just seemed like it was moving really, really slow for some reason. I don't know. It could just be me.
So
it's
I'm
cool.
Shocked, and go ahead
Very
and
cool.
check out the Discord server where other people talk about the product too. In addition to that, I have bought more.
I think they're really
BCW
expensive, right?
Dividers. Before these,
I just bought some of those.
I was using no dividers. I was just setting the sets into.
I just bought some of these for my graded cards and my bulk.
And it was an absolute pain trying to
sort
through
them kind of
when cards sell. A card would sell, and I would have to sit there and manually flip through the cards with my finger. This leads to the cards getting scratched. It's impossible to find things, and I would make orders go missing all the time. With these BCW dividers are bigger than the card itself, so you could.
He hasn't done it here, but what you can do on these, which is really cool, is if you have a dry erase marker, you can write the set name on top, and it sticks out then. So like on mine, I don't know if you can see it. You can't really see it, but you can see like there's black marker on the top of them. So I separated them all out using those BCW dividers, but you can write and dry erase the set name on top, so you can like keep everything super organized and nice. Definitely worth buying. And they make bigger ones for graded cards too. I bought a stack for my graded cards that I have as well. They're actually really, really nice.
Easily just use these to flip through, and it makes it going a lot.
I better putting singles in binder or loose.
A through Z. It's just a great product.
It depends how expensive they are. I would think if they're like $20, $30 plus singles, like vintage stuff, maybe put them in card savers. Maybe if they're like V's and V Maxes and shit, I would just put in a binder. When I did mine, it was super low cost, like $1 to $5 for the most part, maybe a couple in like the $10 range, and I put them in a binder, and it seemed to do well, like with the kids and stuff. But I think if you had stuff that was like, I don't know, $30, $40, $50 plus, I don't know if I would put those in a binder. I would maybe have those in like top loaders or something. I'm not sure. I think it's tough if they're not in binders though, because it's really easy to just like, whoop, top loader in the pants. There we go. Goodbye. I don't know. I'm not sure on that one. I've only ever used a binder before, and it seemed to work, but it wasn't at a Collecticon, so it might be a little different.
On top of that, these are monster pads. Now, these are completely unnecessary. You do not have to get these, but these I think can also be replaced with pool noodles. And when you have a 5,000 count box,
I'm so glad that he said it. So Mason mentioned using pool noodles for this. So going to the store and buying a pool noodle and then cutting it into the pieces that you need to make sure that everything stands up and doesn't constantly fall over. That's just hilarious, the whole pool noodle thing. But yeah, it works.
Set up your cards in one of those 1,000 count rows, and you have 500, and when you go to pull an inventory or something, it just slides all the way back. It's extremely frustrating. These things are designed to just put them behind the cards so that they don't slide backwards. Some of these sets that I have behind me, and you can see in the white rows, I don't have the full 1,000 or even more.
Damn, he has a ton of
the pads are excellent for stopping stuff from sliding
dividers.
Around.
Jesus.
Those are some of the new supplies that I've introduced to my business. Now, the next thing I want to go to is don't list cards at the bottom. This kind of goes into that 25-cent price floor, but I'm going to tell you some of the ways that you can maximize the value that you're getting out of your cards. So,
this is very different from graded card selling.
Weeks ago, I noticed that Judge from Fusion Strike was selling for about a quarter, and there were probably 10 sellers.
A quarter? It's so different.
There were non-verified stores. There were gold star sellers.
I've probably thrown so many of those trainer cards away.
But he only had 3 or 4, and there was one seller that had Judge
it's so
for
completely different.
$3.99
It's just
and
funny.
had 1 copy.
It's
So I was
interesting.
looking at this, and I had 46 judges. I could have just listed all 46 at 25 cents a card, but instead I knew that I had sales history, I was a gold star seller, and I knew that Judge was a hot card in the competitive game. So what did I do? I listed above the other seller that only had the 3 or 4 copies, and listed all my copies at $1.99 plus $1.99 shipping. To my surprise, people actually started buying playsets, which is 4 copies, of Judge. This blew my mind. I was like, okay, well, my strategy worked. I'm now making $2 on a card that I paid 2 cents for. But here's where it gets better. Once I sold a few, the other seller sold out. I then noticed that one listing with the $3.99 was still up. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and take the shot and list all of my Judges at $3.99. Can you guess what happened? The Judges started selling at $3.99. I sold over 20 Judges for $3.99. That's a card that I paid 2 cents for.
Made a quick $80.
Absolutely incredible. So the lesson here is if you have more than 4 copies of a card, you should not list at the bottom. You should list above all the other sellers that have 1 copy, 2 copies, 3 copies, and charge the premium when a player is trying
It's interesting. It's interesting to learn this stuff. It's definitely not what I would ever do on eBay, but
if one seller doesn't have all the cards,
it is interesting.
So be the seller that has all the cards and let them come to you, pick your store, and buy everything from you all at once. Additionally, if you're a gold star seller or you're a direct seller or you have tons of feedback
on eBay, what I tend to do is I try to be, everyone, especially on some of the stuff where there's not a whole lot of comps and there's not a whole lot listed, like the mid-era Japanese and stuff like that, the stuff that I typically buy, there's not a whole lot of comps, there's not a whole lot of other ones listed, and a lot of the times the other ones listed are like, they're the only ones listed, but they're listed at like 4 times the price of what they probably should be. So, a lot of times you want to be the lowest listed because that's who people are going to buy from. Because when you're talking of a graded card, they're not going to buy like 20 of that one card. Like, they don't need 4 of those cards for a deck. So yeah, it's just a completely different way of looking at it. Like, this graded card that's worth $500, there's one that's listed for 7, 8, 9, and so I'm going to list it at, $600 and hope that sells. Or you could list it at the same and maybe put a 5% like promotion on it or something. But yeah, it's completely different with graded cards than it would be because you're not trying to sell more than one at a time to one person, But yeah, it's super interesting to learn. Not anything that I would know otherwise. You do this for Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 07. Players need the cards in hand. You don't want to be waiting for 1 or 2 copies in the mail when you can get them all at once. True. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So like, if there's one person who's only selling 2 copies, but you need 4 copies, and you can be the store where they buy all 4 copies from, but they're gonna spend 50% more at your place. Someone might do that just for the convenience of it. Instead of buying 2 from you and 2 from them, they're just gonna buy 4 from you. That totally makes sense. So yeah, list it a little bit higher because you have the you have the inventory to be able to fulfill more playsets.
And 100% feedback rating. Use that to your advantage. People are going to buy from the store that is higher rated with a higher price compared to people that have a 90% feedback or just no gold star or anything. People want trust. They want the products delivered and they want them safe and they want them in good condition. Be the seller that does a good job. Here on the Lab TCG, we do tons of teaching about how you can be a good seller on TCG Player and these other platforms. Highly recommend that you take care of the customers that are buying from you, and you might just get some repeat sales. Now, number 4 thing that I have learned.
Speaking of being a good seller, I had to call eBay today. Well, I've had this really impatient buyer that bought a card for me, and I think it got lost in USPS or something. Like, it got to his city, but then now it's saying that it was delivered to the last person, but it hasn't been delivered to the house yet or something. It's some weird in between thing. So it's been caught in whatever this limbo is for like a week, and obviously I I got a message from the buyer though, like 2 days after I shipped it, saying, "Where's my card?" And I'm like, "It's coming, it's in," you know. And then I got multiple more messages from him, like the day later and the day later. "Where's my card? Where's my card? I'm waiting too long for this card." Blah blah blah. And then finally he just opened a case because it didn't. I think it was 4 days after I shipped it. He opened a case because he felt like it was taking too long. Or it was 4 days after he paid for it, which I shipped it the day that he paid for it, and I have a 2-day handling time. He was just super kind of rude about, very impatient, I'll say. I called eBay today and I was like, "Hey, can we get this case figured out? Like, this guy is super impatient. The item's lost in transit. I don't know what to do here. It's been sitting in the same spot for a week." And this lady goes into this like, "Well, I don't want it to negatively affect you, so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reach out to USPS, and you're going to have to see, and then you're going to have to message the buyer." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Why is any of this falling on me? What are you talking about?" Like, this, what? And then there was back and forth, and I start getting a little heated because I'm like, "I can't drive this thing to his house. Like, what do you mean this is my responsibility to make sure it gets to his house? Like, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I shipped it the same day he paid for it." And this lady's like, finally, it was just a misunderstanding, apparently. She was just telling me to try and avoid a negative feedback, to do as much as I can for the buyer, like as a good seller. And I just told her, I was like, "I don't care about that." I literally just said, she's like, "Well, the only negative thing that could happen is negative feedback." I was like, "I don't care about that." She's like, "Oh, well, if you don't care about that," she's like, "Well, some sellers like to go above and beyond for their buyers." I'm like, "No, I don't care about that. I've already banned the guy from buying again because he's been a dick to me this whole time." I'm just like, I don't care. One negative feedback is not going to kill my eBay, thing. So whatever. But yeah, it was just interesting. She's like, "Oh, you can do this and you can do that and you can do this." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm not going to call USPS. You're out of your mind." Did your room flip? No, it didn't. Is it better now? It flips when I'm on the other side of the screen. Because I saw somewhere in some streaming thing that you should always be facing what you're watching because it just looks more natural than if I was like facing this way while we were watching a video. It would be more weird. So I just decided to flip the camera. So it probably looks a little weird. Am I going to Dallas? No. Not right now. I want to figure out another Collecticon to go to because I'll definitely be at Charlotte. I'm not sure if I'll go to Dallas. Part of me almost wants to go to Long Beach because I've never been to California before, but I've also never been to Texas before, so I don't know. Anywhere I go, it would be a place that I've never been. But yeah, it was just like, I don't care to go above and beyond. Just give me the negative feedback. I'll just put in there, "It got lost at USPS." Like, it's not my responsibility. I don't know. I don't know why she made it such a big deal, but whatever.
Very, very, very cautious about condition. I bought a collection at the start of the month, or start of January, and it was about a $2,000 collection. And primarily there was a ton of bulk, but there was also a good amount of larger value cards.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be fine on the collection, but I was in a kind of dimly lit room, and I didn't pay as close attention as I probably should have.
Oh, I've done this before.
And to my surprise, some of the cards that I thought were moderately played or heavily played ended up being damaged, or there's stains or stuff on them. I'm still going to be okay, but some of the bulk too, I've listed a lot of stuff as LP and moderately played, which I would have preferred near mint, but just make sure that if you're running...
Hey man, it's TCG Player. If it's got a crease, just list it near mint anyway. Come on, man. That's what TCG Player is, right? You buy near mint cards, you get creases. That's my experience with TCG Player. No, I mean, it's nice that he obviously is saying like, hey, you should be accurate with your condition description because it's gonna, bite you in the ass later on. But yeah, all my experience with TCG Player is buying near mint cards and they all come in damaged. But it is what it is. Let me know if you change your mind. Have a good group. Have a group getting barbecue before the con. Ooh, barbecue in Texas. Old school Swolepoke, Dan, aesthetic chimp. You just named so many people that I am nowhere near the echelon of. I appreciate the invite though. Yeah, that would be cool. If I do go to Dallas, I'll reach out for sure. Cuz that would be interesting. But yeah, when is Dallas Galacticon? Is that the next one? I don't think I'm going May. Oh, that is the next one, isn't it? Unless there's one in April. May 6th. I don't... is there anything happening in May? I don't know. May. That's coming up. You'll be in Dallas as well? Damn. Problem is like if I'm gonna go, I think maybe I should. Who says no to barbecue? I've never had I've had Kansas City barbecue and Carolina style barbecue. I've never been to Texas, so technically I've never had actual Texas barbecue. I've had stuff that probably tastes like Texas barbecue, but yeah, I will if I make my way out there for any reason, I'll let you know for sure, Peak. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. Vegans. Ain't no vegans in this channel. No, I'm just kidding. If you're vegan, cool. My mom isn't she is lactose intolerant, so she has to basically eat a vegan diet, but she's not vegan. Like she eats meat. Wait. She eats meat, but she can't have like dairy products. So basically, if something is vegan, it's she can eat it. So, but she can still eat meat, obviously. So, why did I even mail you, Zelda? All right, let's finish this up.
This business and maybe your capital is a little bit more important. Like the capital that you have is only going towards one collection at a time. Be super meticulous about the condition and make sure that if you are going to be buying lightly played, moderately played, or heavily played stuff, that you know you can make a return on it and that you're paying lower for it because it's not in those pristine conditions.
True.
On top of that, I've decided I'm no longer going to sell heavily played cards.
And a lot of people think that there's stuff. A lot of people think that their shit don't stink. A lot of people think that their cards are in way better condition than they actually are. They'll look at the back of a card and be like, oh, there's a little bit of whitening, a little bit of, a couple white dots on the corners. This is definitely a PSA 10. It's worth this much. No. Definitely not. Yeah. So price things accordingly. If you do plan to grade certain cards, pre-grade them if you can, if they allow you to, which you definitely should be able to, and then figure out. But ultimately, I mean, if you're buying a collection, you should price them raw. That's what I did with my last collection. I said, okay, well, PSA 8 of this is this, but ultimately, this is like a light play hollow card. Let's go to TCG Player, type in light play. That's what the price is. All right, so 50-60% of that, and that's what I'm going to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, if the card is raw, nobody should be expecting a graded price if the card's not graded. But I've seen that recently where it's like, oh, this would definitely get a PSA 9, so I'm gonna price it as a PSA 9 even though it's not graded. It's like, no, that's not how it works. But
I think keeping stuff to near mint, LP, and moderately played is going to be the best bet for me. The heavily played stuff almost never sells. It still is worth listing if you have it, but for me, I have a goal to complete a bunch of old school retro decks, and being able to just kind of keep some of these lightly played or heavily played cards that are absolutely destroyed, that probably are never going to sell anyways, I would rather just keep those. So I've made the decision to make my listing process easier. I'm just not going to sell heavily played cards anymore. Now,
probably
here's
good
the
idea.
thing that I hate. I've been selling Pokemon cards for a long time, and the number one thing that I think is more surprising to people than they may think is that listing Pokemon cards and running a business is extremely time-consuming. Even with TCG Player Direct.
This is why I like this guy. Because he's in my mind, man. He knows what I'm thinking about. When he's talking, for some reason in his mind, he knows what I'm thinking about. I'm so glad that he touched on the time thing. Because managing your time and pricing your time appropriately, this is one thing. I'll go back to grading, but this is one thing that people don't do, is they don't price out their time when they're trying to figure out who to grade with. It's a huge thing. It's a big factor. It's like if you sell, let's just use the example again. If you can sell a CGC card for 15% less in an equivalent PSA case, but you're gonna save 2 months worth of time, that 2 months is worth something. So people should incorporate that into the way that they think, into the way that they like do business, because there's definitely situations in which you might choose one grading card company over the other because you know how much time you're going to save using the one over the other, just based on like your pre-grading and what you think, you know, a card's grade is going to be at either company, which, you know, you optimize that. Obviously, if you think that there's a possibility at a PSA 10 of a big card, then you should probably send it to PSA, because if it does hit the 10, you're going to get a big, you know, payout. But if you think it's going to get a 9 at PSA and you think it's probably could get a 9 at CGC, then you need to think about like, okay, I can get the 9 in CGC back literally like 2 months faster than with CGC. And if I sell it for even 20% less, is the 2 months worth the 20%? It might be, but it depends on how you value your time. But yeah. Disagree. If you sell bulk, you don't value your time to begin with. I mean, I'm not gonna say it. I like the lab TCG, but you ain't gonna catch me selling bulk. Not if I have to actively sell it, that's for sure.
And listing all these cards, I have spent the last couple weekends
I want to spend my time
dedicated to running this business. So this is just a warning for anyone that's looking to make quick money. If you think you're going to make quick money in Pokemon cards, I would highly
SDC?
advise against getting into it, because it takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment, and a lot of passion. So those are the 5 things I've learned over the last 30 days. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I will see you.
I do enjoy the videos. I need to subscribe. I'm subscribing. Subscribed. All notifications. Like I'm the 300th like on the video. Is there like a giveaway for that or something? How's it going, Bryce? Here you go. The Lab TCG, definitely check him out. I think his videos are fantastic. I've learned a lot already. I've only watched 3 videos so far, but I think that he does a great job describing the way that he does business. I like it. I think he's doing great stuff over there. What's the worst play you've made since you've been in the hobby? Biggest unexpected loss. I would say my worst, I haven't lost money on any plays. What I would say, I've lost maybe time. I've tied up money for too long. That's probably my biggest loss, has been moments where I've tied up money for too long. Early on, I bought a $2,500 collection from Joss, which is like a Bai equivalent. So I bought it from Japan with $2,500 collection, and in the description it said, "I think the items are beautiful condition." And when I looked at it, it was like, damn, there's like 2 of those Shining Korokoro Mews. There's like full sets of all of the like WotC, all the way back from like base all the way to, was it WotC, or was it base to Rocket, or was it base to Gym? I forget what it was. It was like base to Rocket, base to Gym, something like that, complete sets, and then a bunch of like promo cards and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, if they're in beautiful condition, I'll do well on this, because even the Korokoro Mews, I'll make a bunch of my money back. And then, and then it came in, everything was creased, terrible condition. All of it was damaged. It was freaking terrible. I ended up probably losing a few $100 on that, but ultimately, like, I spent a lot of the capital. This was very early on, but I spent a lot of the capital that I wanted to be making other plays with on that because I thought it was something that I couldn't pass up because I thought it was going to be a play that was going to make me a lot of money, which it didn't end up making me a lot of money. So yeah, I would say maybe that one. How's it going, Retro? Everyone takes L's. True. Yeah. It's just, I mean, I had like no cost basis going into the not the Uno, the old maid cards, but those were definite, like, I was too late to the grading party. I had those decks for a really long time, but I was just kind of hanging on to them. I was like, oh well, whatever. I mean, if they do something cool, if they don't, whatever. I should have been grading them because I was like months before the first graded cards came out for those, and then I just sold the rest of them recently for like $20 a piece. PSA 10s, $22 a piece or $20 a piece. So I didn't end up really losing a lot, but I didn't gain anything really from grading those or sending those in or whatever. And now, yeah, PSA 10s are selling for like $22 or whatever, $20. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff that hasn't paid off as well as other stuff. Every time I buy from Buy-E, I take L's. Every single time. About 70... I still think I'm at about a 65-70% of stuff that comes in is gradable. But yeah, 30% of the stuff that I buy, I mean, just doesn't work out. They show up in a lot worse condition than they looked in the photos, and they just don't end up gradable. So I either have to try and sell singles on eBay, which I typically don't do, or I just put them in a binder for a later date and probably pull it out during conventions or whatever, or try and sell it at the little shop up there. But those are probably the biggest L's. But usually those, I try to think of everything as like an aggregate, right? So like if I buy 50 cards from Buy-E and they all come in and 70% of them are gradable, then most likely I'm going to do pretty well on the entire play. I'll lose money on like singles if I break it all out into single cards, but on the overall I'll do decent, or I'll do well. So that's your favorite kind of Pokemon. What's my favorite kind of Pokemon content? What do you think is missing from our content space? What's my favorite kind of Pokemon content? What have I been watching recently? I pretty much watch everything. I like Z&G. I like their podcast. I think it's fun. I think it's less. They don't even really talk about Pokemon stuff. But that's probably not a good example because they don't talk a whole lot about Pokemon. I really like graded card returns. I don't know. That's probably still my favorite Pokemon content. Graded card returns, stuff that I can learn from. I like Mason's videos. I can learn from him. Different things that I can try and incorporate into my booth and stuff. And I think that they're. I'm trying to think. I like the live streams when they're like planned out and people and there's like a reason that they're having the live stream, like their topics. Like I like Retro's live streams because Retro comes up with like he's planned in his live streams. He's got the topic list and they go down the topics and there's like a structure to it. Sometimes when live streams are like they go on forever and there's no actual topics and it's just kind of in and out and there's no purpose to it and it's just kind of, but sometimes those can be nice because the conversation just flows from one thing to another and there's a natural like I really liked Basic and Mason going back and forth on MetaZoo recently. That was a fun that was a fun back and forth to start off that live stream. Yeah, I think everyone does everything in an interesting way. I like when live streams are not too long and they have a purpose. Yeah, an itinerary. Peak does that too with his. Um, I like interviews with people. I think you can learn a lot from people, especially people that do things differently than you. So I like when people interview people. I do think we've gotten to a point where I think we can skip past the introductions. I think, well, not with everybody. I think some people that have been on a lot of lives, like Jake and Dan and like all these people that have been on like 10 different people's channels, and they all do the same like 20-minute introduction of how did you get into Pokemon, and it's because it's literally the same answer every time. It's kind of like when every single Spider-Man movie has the exact same like 20-minute intro where we have to see Uncle Ben die for like the 25th time. It's like, yep, I think we get it. We know the origin story. Like, we know Dan's origin story. I did watch the Pokerev, interview with what's that guy's name? I want to say Opossum Bud, but it's not him. It's the other guy. It's the other guy. It's the other kind of drama guy. The Japanese card drama guy. Frick! What is his name? Somebody knows. Okay, J Love. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I saw that interview. I thought it was a decent one. I liked it because he actually asked some questions like, how do you feel about the fact that you can like influence the market, and they talked about like specific instances where he influenced the market or he said the wrong thing, or I thought that was actually an interesting interview. I thought he actually had some pretty tough questions that I thought was interesting to ask. Like, no, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I do think I like the game shows that people do. It feels like, to me, what it feels like is you have these people at the top, right, who don't really collaborate at all. Like, you have Rev, who doesn't do a whole lot of collaborating. You have Leonhardt, who doesn't collaborate a whole lot. You have Unlisted Leaf, who doesn't collaborate with anyone a whole lot. Like, you have these guys at the top who don't really look down at all. They don't, like, I don't know, spotlight anyone else's channels or anything like that, anyone else that they watch. You get the occasional, like, Rev on the live streams with PK and stuff like that occasionally. But I feel like you have this upper echelon of people who are just kind of at the top and they don't really look down. And then you have this middle group of people that, I mean, I think you just have the top and the bottom. And then you have all of us who are like all on each other's lives and we're all hanging out down here together and everything, but we're not hitting the, the crazy numbers, that the big guys do. It'd be nice if somehow those could converge, or there'd be more like, I think at some point, PewDiePie, I know I bring up PewDiePie, but I think at some point PewDiePie, when he was blowing up and growing, he used to shout out other people's channels, and I think that's how actually Jacksepticeye grew to become who he is. He got this big shout out from PewDiePie, and it'd be kind of nice if, like, the guys at the top acknowledge the guys at the bottom, and we're like, hey, those people are actually pretty cool. They make some cool Pokemon content as well. Not saying that I need a shout out or anything, but it'd be nice if, like, the community could all come together and help each other out in different ways. That'd be kind of cool. Convention content. I feel like people make interesting videos. It's just finding the people. I think sometimes when people ask that question, I feel like they just want the people that they like to do the content that they want them to do. Sometimes. So to me, it's kind of like, I think any answer I could give to what I would like to see more, someone's probably already doing that. I just haven't found them yet. So I do think convention content would be cool. I did kind of pose the idea in a live, and it sounds like they're doing it, but maybe not doing any content around it. They're just doing it for fun, which is kind of the booth versus booth. So you have 70 versus 71, which I think is a really cool thing that could be like built up on the channels going, and then you could do like a really fun kind of shooting the different, people selling at the different booths and having the sales numbers and figures and stuff. And if you actually put a production behind it, I think that would be a really fun video. And then at the end, do like who won and the winner, get something, or you follow the guys to the bar and it's the $100, buying the beers for the other group or whatever. That would be a really fun thing. I think too, behind the scenes type stuff of major players, like not interviews, but Colin and Samir. I don't know if you guys know about them on YouTube. Colin and Samir did a thing where they followed Mr. Beast, kind of like a behind the scenes thing, where they went to like his first opening of his first Beast Burger, his first like actual restaurant, like Beast Burger. I think behind the scenes content like that of people who are big players in the hobby, like kind of a day in the life style videos, where it's like, this is Dan Catch'em-all Collectibles. This is a normal day in Dan Catch'em-all Collectibles' life as a full-time Pokemon, content guy plus, seller. Like, what is he doing? Maybe it's boring as shit. Maybe it's super boring. But it could actually be really interesting to see like a behind the scenes sort of thing on what the process actually is from getting up to going to bed for an entire day of behind the scenes sort of stuff, like vlog style. I think that would be interesting. But such a good idea that will never happen. It could happen. We just, just would have to actually get people that would go out there just to film stuff. I can't travel to different states for CollectCon and Poke conventions, so watching videos. Yeah, the convention videos are fun, but it's kind of about how do you make it entertaining. Like I did a convention video, but I didn't necessarily think it was super entertaining. It was just let me walk around the inside of the convention and kind of show what's there and stuff like that. But it wasn't like whatchamacallit's video. Pokemon Classics video was freaking awesome. The one kind of cataloging Denver. That was a super good video. Definitely. He's the production guy. But if you put him in charge of production, and then I could be a cameraman, and then we have like one other cameraman, we could totally do some cool convention stuff, like booth versus booth sort of convention production. That would be really interesting. I think it's a cool video idea, but yeah, I mean I guess that's something I would like to see. Some more vlog stuff, some more, day in the life type stuff would be interesting. Let's see. I did watch the PokeRev interview. I thought it was very interesting that he talked about the whole like the Aerodactyl spiking in price after he didn't pull it, and those types of situations that he talked about. I did, yeah. I watched the two videos we're gonna watch tonight. One from the Lab TCG again, and one from Pokemon Classics. But I'm gonna leave this live up this time. I've kind of been taking them down after each time because I don't want to. I feel like I'm pretty respectful during these reactions, and I'm not a person who wants to get myself into any drama or piss anyone off. But I feel like these are more about learning than drama. So I'll probably leave the videos up and they'll just do what they do, so that people can go back and watch them. But how's it going, Mason? By the way, welcome. Oni Life, welcome. I had a lot of people hop in today. I appreciate it. You guys. We must have got a shout out in the Discord again. I appreciate the people who post that. Chaval's Oak. I don't want to. Yeah. I try to not post too much in there. Not, I don't want to spam it with my videos, but yeah, we watched some videos. It was fun. I'm just kind of chilling now. I don't really have Poketubers doing podcasts. I mean, I'm down for any long form content. I always need stuff to listen to while I'm working, so live streams are so fun. They are. Four is almost too much too. I want conversations in depth, not just sitting there. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a certain number of people that makes sense. Like I know uh three maybe? I think three is pretty good. I think three is pretty good. I think four starts to be a little bit much, and then anything after four is just like good night. Like no, you just can't. Not everyone can contribute in a productive way if you have more than four people. I think four is like max, and three is like the sweet spot. Um, yeah. You get a team of six Pokemon, one from each generation. Well, there's more than six generations, but I probably could choose a Pokemon. I'm trying to think. Does it have to be for anything or just Pokemon that I like? Does it have to be competitive? Because I don't know any of the competitive Pokemon stuff. But six Pokemon, one from each generation. It would be from Gen 1, it would be Charizard because I'm a simp. Gen 2 would probably, man, that's tough to have to make me choose one from Gen 2. It's a toss up between Heracross and Ampharos. Probably Heracross. Heracross, my boy. So we'll go Charizard, Heracross, Gen 3. Trying to think of Gen 3 Pokemon. Aggron? Tyranitar? Wait. Is Tyranitar in Gen 3 or Gen... Tyranitar Gen 2, right? Hold on. I gotta look it up. Generation 3. Yeah, Gen 2, because he's in the E series. So Charizard, Heracross. Oh, Swampert's a beast, but I feel like that's cheating. It might have to be Swampert though, because I really like Swampert. Aggron's cool. Melodic is cool. I like. Oh, Banette. It's probably gonna be Banette. I like Banette. Probably my favorite ghost type Pokemon. Or Rayquaza, but I feel like Rayquaza's cheating. So I'll choose Banette. So we have Charizard, Heracross, Banette, Gen 4. Charizard, Heracross, Banette. Oops, hold on, frick. Let's see. Charizard, Heracross. Oh, Luxray. Luxray. Charizard, Heracross, Banette, Luxray. Ooh, I do like Garchomp, though. Yeah. Salamence is fire. Salamence is really cool. I agree. Who else? What did I say? Charizard, Heracross, Banette, and Luxray. Charizard, Heracross, Banette, Luxray. Now we're getting into Gen 5. I wasn't a huge fan of the Pokemon from Gen 5. Zoroark is cool. Where's Zeraora? Is he Gen 5 or is he Gen 6? Or 7? I like Zeraora a lot. We'll probably go... I actually really like Reuniclus as well. Reuniclus is cool. In terms of design. Let's go Reuniclus. And then for Gen 6, might have to be Greninja, because I'm a simp. Because Greninja is awesome. Yep, it's going to have to be Greninja. I'll just choose one from every gen. We're already here. 7 is going to be... God, I don't like any Pokemon from Sun and Moon. Mimikyu? Maybe? Because I'm a simp. Mimikyu? Let's go with that. I actually really like a lot of the Sword and Shield Pokemon, so this one's actually going to be kind of tough. But probably... Maybe Dragapult or Corviknight. Probably Dragapult. I like Dragapult. He's cool. And then I really don't like a lot of the Pokemon from this gen. This new gen. This new gen is... ugh. Not good. I'll probably choose Koraidon. That's probably my list. Alright, let's see. Pick one person to create their most expensive mystery bag for you. Only pick one. Pick one person to create their most expensive mystery bag. For me, like, do they know me or are they just creating a mystery bag? I would probably choose... I would probably choose Pratt. Because he really likes the Japanese cards, and I really like the Japanese cards. So he'd probably make a Japanese-focused mystery bag, where the other guys, I don't know, they don't really respect the Japanese cards, man. Jake does. Jake would be an interesting one, too. But I think Pratt. I think Pratt, just because I'm into the Japanese stuff, and he's into the Japanese stuff. I think there's more of a chance of me getting Japanese cards from Pratt. But, yeah. I don't really care about trophies. So, he wouldn't have to give me any trophies. But, yeah, some Japanese cards would be sick. Yeah, my Discord's pretty empty. That's true. That's true. You're getting that PSA 10 Dan Trainer. I have a Dan reverse. Dan mystery bag would be a spreadsheet showing why mystery bags are a waste of money. Hey, Dan loves to gamble, though. Dan loves to gamble, though. So, you go on TCA. TCA would be good, too. But, yeah, I just really like the Japanese cards, so. Dan does hook it up. That's true. I bought into one of his MetaZoo things, and he gave me, like, a $75 promo just for spending, like, $20 on packs. So, yeah, he definitely hooks it up. Yeah. I think yours was the comp that I comped mine off of, because you sold it for like 100 and some. I was like, damn, I need to sell this thing. And then I think I got like 70 out of it. A nice CP6 box. CP6 would be fun to open. The Japanese set is really cool. CP3. I don't even know what CP3 is. I haven't done a lot with Japanese booster box. I saw that Dan has a some sort of Japanese E-Series box. I don't know if he's bringing that to Collecticon, but that would be... Oh, Pokekune? I like Pokekune, yeah. Pokekune's cool. Yeah, CP6 is way better than Evolutions. There's so many more cool cards to hit that they made into promos on the US side. But they're in CP6, so they're kind of cool, like chases. But I would never buy a box of CP6 because it's so expensive. Same with Pokekune. Pokekune is really cool, but yeah, I would not. I wouldn't buy a box of that. That'd be that. I mean, it's just so expensive, but it's a great set for sure. Yeah, 4K? No way, not for me. I don't. The only cards I own that are even close to that are the ponchos. Otherwise, I do not deal in things that expensive. According to Red and Blue, Mew's fossil was found in South America. Does that mean ours is a variant? Yes. You might go to Japan to hunt for CP3. I'll just tell you right now, you're probably not going to find any. Yeah, I wouldn't go to Japan to hunt for any Pokemon. Good luck. Good luck. You're going to spend 4K to get there, and you're not even going to find it. Poncho Flex? Oh, you want to see them? I can show you them. They've been here the whole time. I still need to get the other ones, though. The ponchos. The only cool cards that I own. No. They're still here. They have gone up in price though. I think. I checked them the other day and I was like, damn, the Charizard Pika's like closing in on like 4,000. I think it was between 3,000 and 4,000 or something like that. Would you get down? I'll PSA 10, yeah. I got lucky. I found a person selling all of them sealed, and I bought them. And they all graded 10s. So, pretty happy about that. Yeah, I love the ponchos. I think if there were grails for me in this hobby, it would be the Mario and Luigi Pikas are definitely grails for me, and the Web Dark Charmeleon. That sounds kind of stupid because it's probably not that expensive, but that card, Dark Charmeleon, is probably my favorite card art, like, ever. And I really like the E series borders, so the web Dark Charmeleon is one of my grails too. What's the lowest pop card you've graded yourself? What's the most expensive card that's my end goal chase? The most expensive card that's my end goal chase, probably the Mario Luigi Pika. The lowest pop card that I've graded, I think I have a pop 1. I don't know if it's still a pop 1, but hold on. I'll be right back. I'll grab it. It's not super impressive or anything, but I think it's a pop 1. I don't know if it's still a pop 1, but this Metagross in Unlimited PSA 10 was a pop 1 when I graded it. I don't know if it still is, but it's just a Metagross. But that's the lowest pop thing that I've graded. Vikings fan but has good taste. I try to have good taste. I gotta know what's gonna sell, right? Yeah, this was pop 1 when I graded it. I don't know if the pop's gone up. It's just because it's unlimited and it's kind of a Pokemon that is, it's kind of a popular Pokemon, but not super popular. So I'm sure there will be more. If Pokemon Company do more crossover like Pokemon Mario, yeah, I mean there's so much potential, right? There's like Zelda Pokemon. There's there's isn't there literally like gorilla Pokemon yet? You can make a gorilla Pokemon that with like a Donkey Kong, like you could do Donkey Kong, you could do what else? Zelda, Donkey Kong, you could do a Metroid Pikachu with the Metroid hat. Like there's so many different options for Nintendo stuff, but we'll see if they ever do it. Pokemon Naruto, yeah, I like Naruto. Occasionally I go back and rewatch some scenes from Naruto. I watched it all the way through once. I thought about watching One Piece. I think before I started watching Naruto, I started watching One Piece, and I was like, I started watching the first episode, and I'm like, God damn, this is old. Or maybe that was after I watched Naruto. It's just too long, and it's super old. Yeah, Zelda would be super fun. Little cute Pika with a sword and a green cap. Yeah, that would be so cool if they did that. You could do like a Pika with the Majora's Mask, where it's like looking out behind it or something. You could do a little art with the Majora's Mask. Yeah, I mean, there's so much opportunity for crossover, but I don't know if they would ever do it again. I hope that they would, but we'll see. Yeah, unfortunately, I was born in Minnesota, so I'm a Vikings fan. Yeah, Skull Kid Pika, yeah, it'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna head to bed though. So I appreciate you guys being here. It was a lot of fun tonight. Obviously, reacting to videos is always a good time. And I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you guys for being here. And obviously the live stream will stay up, so if you guys miss anything, you guys can go back and check out what you missed. But otherwise, we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. It was nice chatting with you guys, and hopefully you have a great time in Orlando. Those of you that are going to Orlando, have a fantastic time. Should be a lot of fun. Take lots of video and pictures and stuff. I want to see all of it in the Discord. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good time. And I hope you guys sell a bunch of cards and make a bunch of money. All right, guys. We'll see you later.